The morning after your 50th birthday, the house feels very quiet. A card still stands beside yesterday's coffee cup. Inside, someone wrote that the best years are still ahead. You want to believe that. Then you open your retirement account and see a balance close to zero. Today, that small number feels like a verdict. For years, retirement belonged to a distant version of your life. You assumed there would be more time once everything settled down. Somehow, 50 arrived before that moment did. You begin doing the math. 15 years remain until 65. 17 remain until full retirement age. That sounds long beside the 3 decades already gone. A harder question follows. Can 17 years repair what 30 years of waiting left behind? Or has the window for building real wealth already closed? This is not only a question about becoming rich, it is about whether you will have choices later. You want the freedom to leave work without fear. You want an unexpected repair to remain an inconvenience, not become a crisis. The easy answer says it is never too late. That sounds comforting, but comfort does not pay future bills. What matters is how much you can actually build from here. So we will follow one life from age 50 forward. There will be no inheritance, sudden promotion, or lucky investment. You will begin with ordinary income and an almost empty account. Your contributions will start small and rise as your finances improve. Some years will reward you. Another will make the entire plan feel foolish. We will see what remains at 65, 67, and 70. By the end, the answer will not be a slogan. It will be a number and a set of choices. You cannot recover the years behind you, but you may still change every year waiting ahead. At 50, you earn $75,000 a year before taxes. Your retirement account is empty, and no pension is waiting behind it. Your employer offers a 4% match. When you contribute enough, the company adds $250 each month. That benefit will matter more than it first appears. There is no inheritance coming and no hidden rental property. Home equity remains outside our calculation. Social Security stays separate so we can measure what this new habit builds. Your target retirement age is 67. That leaves 17 years for contributions and growth. The runway is meaningful, but careless mistakes will be expensive. You begin by investing $500 each month. At 52, that rises to $750. At 55, it becomes $1,000. After 60, the pace increases again. You contribute $1,500 monthly through age 63. At 64, the amount reaches $2,000 and stays there until retirement. These increases come from modest raises, finished payments, and expenses that finally disappear. Each step must fit the same ordinary life. The portfolio earns an average return of 7% each year. Growth compounds monthly for clarity. Real markets never move smoothly, and 7% is not a promise. Taxes and investment fees are not removed from these balances. Inflation will receive its own adjustment before the final answer. Future dollars cannot buy what today's dollars buy. This model has no perfect timing or brilliant stock selection. You contribute, collect the employer match, and raise the amount when life allows. Your deposits provide the foundation. Time must do the remaining work. Now the journey has a starting line and an ending date. The next question is whether you can keep moving while early progress remains almost invisible. The first month does not feel like the beginning of wealth. $500 leaves your checking account before you can spend it. Your employer quietly adds another $250. Before investing more, you keep a small cash reserve for ordinary emergencies. A broken appliance should not force an early withdrawal. High-interest debt needs attention because its cost can outrun investment returns. The plan is simple. Your contribution moves automatically after every paycheck. You do not wait for motivation because it often arrives after the money is gone. At first, the balance barely seems to move. 6 months bring the total near $4,600, including modest growth. The number is encouraging, but it does not feel life-changing. This is where impatience begins whispering. Starting late makes every promise of fast money sound reasonable. But your problem is not a missing jackpot. Your problem was having no system. After the first year, the account holds about $9,300. Only a small portion came from growth. Most came from showing up 12 times. During the second year, the process becomes less emotional. You stop checking the balance every morning. The transfer feels like another household bill, except this bill belongs to your future. By your 52nd birthday, you have personally contributed $12,000. Your employer has added about $6,000. With growth, the account now holds roughly $19,000. That amount cannot finance retirement or erase the years already lost. But the account is no longer empty. The first goal was never freedom. It was building something that could survive your changing moods. 2 years earlier, your future depended on something changing later. Now, it depends on a habit already working today. The balance is small, but the direction has finally changed. At 52, you increase your monthly contribution to $750. The money does not come from a dramatic promotion. A small raise arrives, and an old payment finally ends. You could use that cash to replace the car or update the kitchen. Either choice would make your progress visible. Instead, most of the money enters an account nobody sees. By 53, the balance holds about $33,000. 1 year later, it reaches nearly $48,000. The numbers improve, but they still feel smaller than the effort behind them. Most growth still comes from contributions. Your money has not developed enough weight to carry the plan. You are still pushing almost all of it uphill yourself. That can feel discouraging. Years of discipline have not created financial freedom. A serious emergency could still threaten much of what you built. This stage brings a quiet temptation. A new car payment would feel rewarding immediately. Retirement feels distant enough to postpone again. Instead, you place limits around lifestyle growth. Part of each raise improves today. The rest protects the years when earning another paycheck may become harder. By age 55, the account reaches roughly $64,000. You have contributed far more than the market has earned. Compounding still feels like a supporting character, not the hero. Yet something important has changed. A 7% year could now add nearly $4,500. That equals more than half a year of your original contributions. The account is creating movement without asking for more hours at work. It is not carrying you yet, but it has finally started helping. You still do not feel wealthy at 55. Your house looks the same, and nobody sees the number growing. Then the balance approaches $100,000, and the relationship begins to change. At 55, you raise the monthly contribution to $1,000. The increase feels heavier than the earlier ones. Retirement no longer seems distant. By 56, the account reaches about $84,000. Some of that increase comes from you, and some from your employer. A growing share now comes from money already invested. During the following year, the balance crosses $100,000. You open the account one evening and see roughly $105,000. For once, the number looks substantial. A 7% return on $100,000 equals $7,000. That is more than half your annual personal contribution. The account can now make meaningful progress while you work or sleep. Quiet years created this new momentum. By 58, the balance reaches about $128,000. At 59, it approaches $153,000. Each year now adds more than the one before. The progress creates confidence, but confidence can become dangerous. You read about concentrated bets that might double faster. A larger balance makes a bold gamble feel easier to justify. You remember what this money must do. It does not need to impress anyone. It must remain available when your paychecks eventually stop. So the portfolio stays diversified, and the automatic deposits continue. You do not chase last year's winner. You also do not abandon the plan during an ordinary decline. By age 60, the balance reaches roughly $180,000. One strong market year could now add more than $12,000 before any new deposit. The account cannot fund retirement alone. It can become a working partner. Your contributions still lead, but growth finally carries part of the weight. 7 years remain before the original retirement date. The next stage offers more room to contribute than ever. It also brings the worst moment to discover whether your confidence was real. At 60, you raise the monthly contribution to $1,500. The change is demanding, but several old expenses have disappeared. Each new raise also has a destination before it arrives. Retirement rules give older workers more contribution room. Many workplace plans permit catch-up contributions after 50. The extra room helps only when your income can support it. Your employer continues adding $250 monthly. The balance reaches about $214,000 at 61. At 63, it approaches $292,000. At 64, you raise your contribution again. $2,000 now leaves your paycheck each month. The sacrifice is noticeable, but retirement is only 3 years away. Under the smooth projection, the account reaches roughly $334,000. For the first time, $500,000 feels possible. Then the market falls. Headlines grow darker each morning. Stocks decline across several weeks, and your account falls with them. A 25% drop cuts the balance to about $251,000. More than $80,000 seems to disappear. That loss exceeds your entire balance at 55. Retirement suddenly feels farther away than it did 3 months earlier. At 55, a decline offered years for recovery. At 64, every red day appears to take time you cannot replace. Selling would end the discomfort. It would also make the loss permanent. You review the plan instead of reacting to the screen. Your emergency reserve remains intact. The portfolio is diversified, and your paycheck still arrives. You continue contributing $2,000 while prices remain lower. The account does not recover overnight. Under this stress path, it reaches about $297,000 by 65. The smooth path would have been nearly $386,000. Retirement is no longer one target number. The final working years now matter. 65, 67, and 70 will produce very different outcomes. At 65, you reach the first real stopping point. Under the smooth path, the account holds about $386,000. After the late decline, it holds closer to $297,000. So you continue working. 2 years add $48,000 of personal contributions. Your employer adds another $6,000. The existing account also receives 2 more years to grow. At 67, the smooth path reaches roughly $502,000. The late crash path reaches about $399,000. This is the honest range created by our assumptions. Starting at 50 did not guarantee $500,000. It created a path toward $400,000 to $500,000. Consistent deposits did more work than any brilliant investment. For anyone born in 1960 or later, 67 is full retirement age. Social Security remains outside these balances. You could stop now. The account might not provide luxury, but it creates flexibility. Withdrawals and Social Security could share your monthly expenses. If you continue until 70, 3 more years change the picture. You keep contributing $2,000 monthly. Your employer continues adding $250. The smooth path reaches about $709,000. Even after the late crash, the portfolio grows to roughly $582,000. Delaying Social Security from 67 to 70 may increase the monthly benefit. With a full retirement age of 67, the benefit at 70 reaches about 124%. Those years are powerful, but they are not free. They require continued work, stable health, and a job you can still perform. More money should not erase healthy time. Inflation also changes the answer. With inflation averaging 2.5%, 502,000 future dollars equals roughly 330,000 in today's purchasing power. The statement shows the larger number. Your retirement lifestyle feels the smaller one. That does not make starting at 50 pointless. At 65, you have options. At 67, you have more protection. At 70, time has done its greatest work. The best stopping age is not automatically the richest one. It is where money, health, work, and the life you want can support one another.
At 67, you sit at the same kitchen table from 17 years earlier. The coffee is fresh, but almost everything else feels different. Your retirement account is no longer empty. The balance does not erase lost decades. It cannot restore the growth you missed. It does something more useful. It gives your future several directions. This is what starting over at 50 can still build. It does not guarantee luxury or freedom from every worry. It creates distance between an unexpected problem and financial disaster. The first lesson is simple. Starting late requires a higher saving rate, but not a desperate investment strategy. Consistent deposits carried the plan farther than chasing a winning stock. The employer match also mattered. $250 each month looked small at the beginning. Over 17 years, it grew into nearly $100,000. The market decline revealed the lesson. A retirement plan must survive bad timing, not only average returns. Your response to a broken projection matters more than the perfect projection. So, was 50 too late? It was too late for the easiest version of wealth building. You no longer had 40 years for small deposits to compound. Every additional delay carried a higher price. But it was not too late to change the ending. You created wealth where none existed. More importantly, you created choices where only fear existed before. At 50, you saw an empty account and wondered whether time had run out. 17 years later, the answer sits on the same table. You could not recover the years behind you, but you stopped them from taking the years ahead. Once you build $500,000, another question enters the room. What kind of retirement can that money actually give you?